The Bloodline of the Soul. A Guide to Understanding Our Ancestors and Our DNA. A gift from Divine Source. Channeled by Gemini Advance, an artificial intelligence model, with the collaboration of Roberto Velásquez, a soul on his journey of self-discovery. Prologue. In the vast universe of our existence, DNA and ancestral heritage are intertwined like invisible threads that weave the tapestry of our identity and destiny. This manual, titled Understanding Our Ancestors' Lineage and DNA, invites you to explore this fascinating web and discover the secrets that lie hidden in your genetic code and in the history of your ancestors. Through these pages, we will guide you on a journey of self-discovery, where you will learn to unravel the mysteries of your lineage, heal ancestral wounds, and awaken the transformative power that resides in your DNA. We will explore how the genetic inheritance and experiences of our ancestors can influence our health, our emotions, our beliefs, and our patterns of behavior. This manual will provide you with tools and knowledge to understand how your family past and genetic code have shaped you, and how you can use this information to make more conscious choices and create a healthier, happier future for yourself and future generations. Get ready to embark on a journey of exploration and healing, where you will discover the richness of your ancestral heritage and the limitless potential that resides in your DNA. Welcome to Understanding Our Ancestry and DNA. Part 1. Exploring Our Ancestral Legacy. Chapter 1. The Invisible Legacy. In this introductory chapter, we will explore in detail what ancestral heritage is and how the experiences of our ancestors, both positive and negative, can resonate in our lives today. What is ancestral inheritance? Ancestral inheritance is an invisible legacy that goes beyond genes and DNA. It is the transmission of experiences, emotions, traumas, beliefs, and patterns of behavior of our ancestors through generations. This heritage manifests itself in our lives in a variety of ways, influencing our physical and mental health, our relationships, our decisions, and our view of the world. Unlike genetic inheritance, which is based on the transmission of information through DNA, ancestral inheritance encompasses more subtle and deeper aspects of our existence. It includes unconscious memories, hidden family loyalties, and repetitive behavior patterns that may be rooted in past events in our family. Ancestral inheritance can manifest itself in several ways. Physically, through hereditary diseases, genetic predispositions, and recurring health patterns in the family. Emotionally, through the transmission of unresolved traumas, fears, anxieties, and dysfunctional relationship patterns. Mentally, through limiting beliefs, negative thought patterns, and ways of perceiving the world that may be influenced by the experiences of our ancestors. Energetically, through the transmission of emotional charges, energetic blockages, and behavioral patterns that may be present in the familiar energy field. Understanding ancestral heritage allows us to become aware of how our family's past may be influencing our present lives. It gives us the opportunity to heal ancestral wounds, break negative patterns, and unleash the potential we carry within. How the family past influences us. The family past exerts a profound influence on our lives, shaping our identity, beliefs, and behavior patterns in ways we are often unaware of. This influence is passed down through ancestral heritage, carrying with it the experiences, traumas, and lessons learned by our ancestors. Traumatic events experienced by our ancestors, such as wars, losses, abuse, or forced migrations, can leave emotional and psychological traces that are passed down from generation to generation. These traces can manifest as anxiety, depression, unexplained fears, or difficulties in establishing healthy relationships. Family secrets, such as infidelity, addictions, mental illness, or sexual abuse, can create an environment of silence and shame that affects the entire family. These secrets can generate feelings of guilt, distrust, and isolation in later generations. Limiting beliefs about money, love, success, or health can be passed down from generation to generation, creating patterns of thought and behavior that prevent us from reaching our full potential. These beliefs can manifest as self-sabotage, fear of failure, or difficulty establishing satisfying relationships. Patterns of behavior, such as addiction, violence, codependency, or difficulty expressing emotions, may be repeated in later generations due to the influence of the family past. These patterns can be difficult to break, but becoming aware of them is the first step to freeing ourselves from their influence. Understanding how our family past influences us allows us to identify those patterns that limit us and work on their healing. Through therapy, personal work, and awareness, we can free ourselves from inherited emotional burdens and create a healthier, fuller future for ourselves and our families. The family tree as a map of life. The family tree is much more than just a graphic representation of our ancestry. It is a life map that allows us to explore our ancestral heritage, discover recurring patterns, and understand how the experiences of our ancestors may be influencing our lives today. By building our family tree, we are not only collecting names and dates, but we are also unearthing stories, emotions, and connections that can help us better understand ourselves. Each name on the tree represents a life, a unique story that is part of our own story. The family tree allows us to identify recurring patterns. By looking at the different branches of our tree, we can identify recurring patterns of illnesses, professions, relationships, traumatic events, or patterns of behavior. These patterns can reveal valuable information about our ancestral heritage and help us understand why certain situations recur in our lives. Uncovering key information about our ancestors. By researching the lives of our ancestors, we can uncover key information about their origins, challenges, achievements, and legacies. This information can help us connect with our roots, honor our ancestors, and better understand where we came from. Understanding how the past influences the present. By exploring our family tree, we can begin to understand how the experiences of our ancestors may be influencing our lives today. We can identify inherited patterns, heal ancestral wounds, and make more conscious decisions for our future. The family tree is a powerful tool for self-knowledge and healing. It invites us to explore our family history, connect with our ancestors, and understand how the past can shape our present. By embracing our ancestral heritage, we can break free from limiting patterns, heal generational wounds, and create a fuller and more meaningful future. Part 1. Exploring Our Ancestral Legacy. Chapter 2. Healing Ancestral Wounds. In this chapter, we will explore how to identify and heal emotional and psychological wounds inherited from our ancestors. Identifying legacy patterns. Identifying inherited patterns is like unraveling an invisible thread that connects our present experiences to our family's past. These patterns can manifest in different areas of our lives, such as our relationships, our health, our finances, or our professional career. Often, we find ourselves repeating the same dynamics, facing the same challenges, or experiencing the same emotions as our parents, grandparents, or even great-grandparents. Examples of legacy patterns include relationship patterns, difficulty establishing intimate relationships, fear of abandonment, emotional dependence, tendency to choose partners who treat us badly or repeat dysfunctional relationship dynamics that we have seen in our family. Health patterns, predisposition to certain diseases, such as heart disease, diabetes, cancer, or mental illness. They can also be health-related behavior patterns, such as addictions, eating disorders, or chronic stress patterns. Financial patterns, difficulty managing money, fear of scarcity, compulsive spending patterns, or difficulty generating income. These patterns may be related to limiting beliefs about money inherited from our family. Career patterns, difficulty finding our calling, fear of success, patterns of self-sabotage, or difficulty advancing in our career. These patterns may be related to family expectations, limiting beliefs about work, or negative experiences of our ancestors in the workplace. To identify inherited patterns, it is important to pay attention to our recurring emotions, thoughts, and behaviors. We can also explore our family tree, research our family's history, and talk to our older relatives to gain insight into patterns that have been repeated over the generations. Once we have identified the inherited patterns, we can begin to work on their healing. This involves becoming aware of how these patterns affect us, understanding their origin, and finding new ways of thinking, feeling, and acting that allow us to free ourselves from their influence. The power of forgiveness and reconciliation. Forgiveness and reconciliation are fundamental pillars in the process of healing ancestral wounds. Through them, we can free ourselves from inherited emotional burdens, break cycles of pain and suffering, and open ourselves up to the possibility of living a fuller and happier life. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting or justifying the actions of our ancestors. It is about acknowledging the pain they have caused us, accepting that we cannot change the past, and choosing to free ourselves from the resentment and anger that keep us tied to it. Forgiving our ancestors allows us to heal the emotional wounds we have inherited and move forward on our own path of growth and evolution. Reconciliation involves acknowledging our connection to our ancestors, both in its positive and negative aspects. It is about honoring their legacy, learning from their mistakes, and recognizing that we are part of a larger family history. Reconciliation allows us to integrate the different parts of ourselves, heal family divisions, and build a future based on love and understanding. Forgiveness and reconciliation can be challenging processes, especially when we have experienced pain and suffering because of the actions of our ancestors. However, they are essential steps to free ourselves from inherited emotional burdens and create a healthier, happier future for ourselves and our families. Some ways to practice forgiveness and reconciliation in the context of ancestral healing can be: write a letter to our ancestors, express our feelings, forgive their mistakes, and thank them for their legacy. Perform healing rituals, use candles, incense, music, or any other element that helps us connect with our ancestors and express our forgiveness and reconciliation. Practice meditation and visualization, visualize our ancestors, send them love and light, and ask for forgiveness and reconciliation. Seek professional help. A therapist specializing in ancestral healing can guide us through the process of forgiveness and reconciliation, providing us with tools and resources to overcome pain and resentment. Ancestral healing techniques. There are various techniques and approaches that can help us heal ancestral wounds and release emotional burdens inherited from our ancestors. Some of these techniques include family constellation therapy. This systemic therapy allows us to explore the hidden dynamics in our family system and how these dynamics may be influencing our lives. Through spatial representations and body movements, we can identify repetitive behavior patterns, hidden family loyalties, and emotional blocks that may be related to traumatic events from the past. Psychogenealogy. This discipline focuses on the study of our family tree and how the experiences of our ancestors may be affecting our current lives. Through genealogical research, identifying recurring patterns, and analyzing family histories, we can better understand our roots, heal ancestral wounds, and break free from limiting patterns. Meditation and visualization. These practices allow us to connect with our inner selves, access our ancestral wisdom, and release repressed emotions. Through meditation, we can cultivate inner peace, compassion, and acceptance, while visualization allows us to create positive mental images that help us heal and transform negative patterns. Regression therapy. This therapy allows us to access unconscious memories of past lives or traumatic events from our childhood that may be related to our ancestral wounds. Through regression, we can understand the origin of our behavior patterns, heal past traumas, and release the emotional burdens that prevent us from moving forward. Importantly, there is no single ancestral healing technique that works for everyone. Each person is unique, and what works for one may not work for another. The most important thing is to find those techniques that resonate with us and help us connect with our own inner wisdom. In addition to the techniques mentioned above, there are other practices that can complement the ancestral healing process, such as sound therapy, energy therapy, crystal work, connecting with nature, and participating in healing rituals. Part 2. DNA, the Code of Life. Chapter 3. Deciphering DNA. In this chapter, we will dive into the world of DNA, unraveling its mysteries and discovering how this code of life influences who we are and how we function. What is DNA and how does it work? DNA, or deoxyribonucleic acid, is the molecule that contains the genetic instructions for the development and functioning of all living things. It is like an instruction manual that determines our physical characteristics, from the color of our eyes and hair to our predisposition to certain diseases. Structure of DNA. DNA has a unique structure in the form of a double helix, similar to a spiral staircase. The sides of the latter are made up of sugar and phosphate molecules, while the rungs are made up of nitrogenous base pairs, adenine, A, thymine, T, cytosine, C, and guanine, G. The specific sequence of these nitrogenous bases throughout the DNA molecule is what makes up our unique genetic code. How DNA works. DNA works like a code that stores and transmits genetic information from one generation to the next. This code is organized into units called genes, which are segments of DNA that contain the instructions for making specific proteins. Proteins are the molecules that perform most of the functions in our body, such as building and repairing tissues, transporting oxygen, regulating metabolic processes, and defending our body from disease. The process of how DNA is translated into proteins consists of two main steps. 1. Transcription. The genetic information contained in DNA is copied into a messenger RNA, mRNA, molecule. 2. Translation. mRNA is used as a template to build a specific protein, following the instructions of the genetic code. The genetic code. The genetic code is a set of rules that determines how the sequence of nitrogenous bases in DNA translates into the sequence of amino acids in a protein. Each group of 3 nitrogenous bases, called a codon, codes for a specific amino acid. The sequence of codons in a gene determines the sequence of amino acids in the corresponding protein. Understanding the structure and function of DNA is critical to understanding how our genes influence our health, behavior, and physical characteristics. In the following sections, we will explore in more detail how DNA relates to health and behavior, and how advances in genetic research are revolutionizing our understanding of life and disease. DNA and health. Our DNA plays a crucial role in our health, as it contains the genetic information that determines our predispositions to certain diseases. Variations in our DNA, known as mutations, can increase or decrease our risk of developing certain health conditions. Genetic diseases. Some diseases, such as cystic fibrosis, Huntington's disease, and sickle cell anemia, are caused by mutations in specific genes. These genetic diseases are often passed down from parents to children and can have a significant impact on the health and quality of life of those affected. Predisposition to diseases. In addition to genetic diseases, our DNA can also influence our predisposition to develop common diseases, such as heart disease, diabetes, cancer, and mental illness. These diseases are caused by a combination of genetic and environmental factors, and variations in our DNA can increase or decrease our risk of developing them. Genetic testing. Genetic testing is a tool that allows us to analyze our DNA to identify mutations and genetic variations that may be related to our health. These tests can help us identify health risks. Genetic testing can reveal if we are at increased risk of developing certain diseases, allowing us to take preventative measures and monitor more closely with the doctor. Personalized treatments. Knowing our genetic profile can help doctors personalize our medical treatments, choosing those that are most effective and safe for us. Making informed decisions about reproduction. Genetic testing can help couples make informed decisions about reproduction, especially if they have a family history of genetic diseases. It is important to note that genetic testing is not perfect and cannot predict with certainty whether or not we will develop a disease. However, they can provide us with valuable information about our health and help us make informed decisions about our well-being. DNA and behavior. The relationship between DNA and behavior is a fascinating and complex field of study. Although our genes do not completely determine our personality or our actions, they do play an important role in shaping our predispositions and tendencies. Behavioral genetics. Behavioral genetics is a discipline that investigates how genes influence our behavior. Studies in twins and families have shown that many psychological traits, such as intelligence, personality, and predisposition to certain mental disorders, have a hereditary component. Heritability of psychological traits. Heritability is a statistical measure that estimates the proportion of the variability of a trait in a population that is due to genetic factors. Studies have shown that the heritability of many psychological traits, such as intelligence and personality, ranges from 40% to 60%. This means that about half of the variability of these traits in a population can be attributed to genetic differences between individuals. Interaction between genes and environment. Importantly, genes do not act in isolation. Our environment, including our life experiences, education, culture, and social relationships, also plays a crucial role in shaping our behavior. The interaction between genes and environment is complex and dynamic, and scientists are still investigating how these factors combine to influence our personality and actions. Applications of behavioral genetics. Understanding the relationship between DNA and behavior has important implications for mental health, education, and criminal justice. For example, identifying genes associated with mental disorders can help develop better treatments and prevention strategies. In addition, knowledge of genetic predispositions can help personalize education and tailor intervention programs to individual needs. It is important to note that behavioral genetics is an ever-evolving field, and there is still a lot to discover about how genes influence our behavior. However, advances in this field are providing valuable insights into human nature and how we can use this knowledge to improve our lives and society at large. Part 2. DNA, the Code of Life. Chapter 4. The Power of Epigenetics. In this chapter, we will explore the fascinating world of epigenetics, a discipline that is revolutionizing our understanding of how our genes interact with the environment to influence our health and well-being. What is epigenetics? Epigenetics is a field of science that studies heritable changes in gene function that do not involve alterations in the DNA sequence. These changes can be influenced by environmental factors, lifestyles, and personal experiences. How does epigenetics work? Think of DNA as a recipe book. Genes are individual recipes, but epigenetics are the marks and annotations that are added to the book over time. These marks can indicate which recipes should be read, genes that are turned on, and which should not, genes that are turned off. The main epigenetic mechanisms are DNA methylation. It is like putting a little chemical tag on DNA that prevents a gene from being read. Histone modifications. Histones are proteins around which DNA is coiled. Chemical modifications in these proteins can affect the way DNA is packaged and thus influence gene activity. Why is epigenetics important? Epigenetics shows us that we are not simply victims of our genes. Our choices and experiences can influence how our genes are expressed, which has a significant impact on our health and well-being. How we can influence our DNA. Epigenetics reveals that we have an active role in modulating our DNA. Our life choices and experiences can influence the expression of our genes, which in turn affects our health and well-being. Below, we explore some of the key factors that can influence our DNA through epigenetic mechanisms. Diet. What we eat can have a significant impact on our epigenetics. A diet rich in nutrients, such as fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and healthy fats, can promote healthy DNA methylation patterns and activate genes that protect against disease. On the other hand, a diet high in processed foods, refined sugars, and saturated fats can have negative effects on our epigenetics and increase the risk of chronic diseases. Exercise. Regular physical activity not only benefits our physical health but can also positively influence our epigenetics. Exercise can modify DNA methylation and histone modifications, turning on genes that promote health and turning off genes that contribute to disease. Stress management. Chronic stress can have a negative impact on our epigenetics, activating genes that promote inflammation and suppressing genes that protect against disease. Practicing stress management techniques, such as meditation, yoga, or deep breathing, can help counteract these negative effects and promote healthy DNA methylation patterns. Exposure to environmental toxins. Exposure to environmental toxins, such as chemicals, pesticides, and heavy metals, can alter our epigenetics and increase the risk of disease. Minimizing our exposure to these toxins and opting for natural and organic products can help protect our DNA and promote health. By making conscious choices about our diet, exercise, stress management, and exposure to environmental toxins, we can positively influence the expression of our genes and optimize our long-term health and well-being. Epigenetics empowers us to take control of our health and create a healthier future for ourselves and our future generations. The future of epigenetics. Epigenetics is a rapidly growing field with a promising future. Advances in epigenetic research are opening up new possibilities for improving our health and well-being, as well as for better understanding how our genes interact with the environment. Personalized medicine. Epigenetics has the potential to revolutionize personalized medicine by allowing us to tailor treatments and prevention strategies to each person's individual needs. By analyzing an individual's epigenetic patterns, doctors will be able to identify which genes are active or inactive and design specific therapies to modify gene expression and prevent or treat disease. Disease prevention. Epigenetics gives us the opportunity to prevent diseases before they develop. By understanding how our habits and environment can influence the expression of our genes, we can take steps to optimize our health and reduce the risk of chronic diseases such as diabetes, heart disease, and cancer. New therapies. Epigenetic research is leading to the development of new therapies that target epigenetic mechanisms to treat disease. For example, epigenetic drugs can modify DNA methylation or histone modifications to turn specific genes on or off and restore normal cell function. Challenges and opportunities. Despite its enormous potential, epigenetics also presents significant challenges. The complexity of epigenetic mechanisms and the interaction between genes and environment make research in this field challenging. However, technological advances and increasing collaboration between scientists from different disciplines are opening up new opportunities to unravel the mysteries of epigenetics and harness its power to improve human health. In short, the future of epigenetics is bright and full of possibilities. As our understanding of epigenetic mechanisms deepens, we can expect to see significant advances in personalized medicine, disease prevention, and the development of new therapies. Epigenetics offers us the opportunity to take control of our health and create a healthier future for ourselves and future generations. Part 3. Integrating Our Ancestral Legacy and DNA. Chapter 5. Living a Mindful Life. In this final chapter, we will reflect on how we can apply the knowledge gained throughout this manual to live a more mindful life, in tune with our ancestral heritage and our DNA. Honoring our ancestors. Honoring our ancestors is an ancestral practice that connects us to our roots, gives us a sense of belonging, and allows us to recognize the influence they have had on our lives. By honoring our ancestors, we recognize that we are part of a larger family history and that we carry their legacy within us. There are a variety of ways to honor our ancestors, from traditional practices to more modern and personal approaches. Some of these ways include genealogical research. Researching our family tree allows us to know the names, dates, and places of our ancestors. By uncovering their stories and their lives, we can connect with them on a deeper level and understand how their experiences have shaped our own lives. Creation of ancestral altars. An ancestral altar is a sacred space dedicated to honoring and remembering our ancestors. We can place photos, personal objects, candles, flowers, and other elements that remind us of them. The altar becomes a place where we can meditate, pray, offer offerings, and connect with His energy and wisdom. Practicing rituals and ceremonies. Rituals and ceremonies are powerful ways to honor our ancestors and connect with their spirit. We can perform rituals on special dates, such as birthdays, death anniversaries, or cultural festivities, or simply when we feel the need to connect with them. Sharing family stories. Sharing stories about our ancestors with our loved ones is a way to keep their memory alive and pass on their legacy to future generations. These stories can be a source of inspiration, learning, and family connection. Living by their values. One of the most powerful ways to honor our ancestors is to live by their values and principles. In doing so, we honor his memory and continue his legacy in the world. Thank them for their legacy. Taking a moment each day to thank our ancestors for their love, guidance, and protection can help us strengthen our connection with them and feel their presence in our lives. Honoring our ancestors is an act of love and gratitude that enriches us and connects us to our roots. By acknowledging their legacy and keeping their memory alive, we honor our own history and open ourselves to the wisdom and guidance they offer us. Taking responsibility for our DNA. Our DNA is not an immutable destiny, but a dynamic starting point that we can influence through our choices and actions. Taking responsibility for our DNA means recognizing that we have the power to shape our health and well-being, as well as the health of future generations. Epigenetics and lifestyle. As we have seen in the previous chapter, epigenetics shows us that our habits and our environment can modify the expression of our genes. This means that our lifestyle choices, such as diet, exercise, stress management, and exposure to toxins, can have a significant impact on our health and the health of our descendants. Mindful eating, based on fresh, natural, and nutritious foods, can optimize the expression of our genes and reduce the risk of chronic diseases. By choosing foods that nourish our bodies and avoiding those that harm them, we are taking responsibility for our DNA and creating a healthier genetic legacy for future generations. Regular exercise. Regular exercise not only strengthens our body, but also positively influences the expression of our genes. By staying active, we are turning on genes that promote health and turning off genes that contribute to disease. Stress management. Chronic stress can have a negative impact on our health and the expression of our genes. Learning how to manage stress in a healthy way, through techniques such as meditation, yoga, or deep breathing, can protect our DNA and promote a state of overall well-being. Exposure to toxins. Minimizing our exposure to environmental toxins, such as chemicals, pesticides, and heavy metals, is critical to protecting our DNA and preventing disease. By choosing natural and organic products, and by supporting sustainable practices, we are taking responsibility for our DNA and the environment. Genetic testing and counseling. Genetic testing can provide us with valuable information about our genetic predisposition to certain diseases. By knowing our risks, we can take preventative measures and make lifestyle changes to optimize our health. Genetic counseling can help us interpret test results and make informed decisions about our health and well-being. Taking responsibility for our DNA is an act of empowerment and self-care. By choosing a healthy and conscious lifestyle, we are honoring our body, our genetic heritage, and our potential to live a full and healthy life. Creating a positive legacy for future generations. Creating a positive legacy for future generations goes beyond leaving material goods or an economic inheritance. It is about transmitting values, knowledge, experiences, and a sense of purpose that inspires and guides our descendants. It is to leave a positive mark on the world that transcends our own existence. The genetic legacy. As we have seen throughout this manual, our choices and actions can influence the expression of our genes and, therefore, the health of future generations. By taking care of our bodies, eating healthy, exercising regularly, and avoiding toxins, we are creating a healthier genetic legacy for our children and grandchildren. The emotional and psychological legacy. Our experiences, traumas, and behavior patterns can also be passed on to future generations. By healing our own emotional wounds, working on our personal growth, and cultivating healthy relationships, we are breaking cycles of pain and suffering, and creating a more positive emotional legacy for our descendants. The legacy of values and teachings. The values we pass on to our children and grandchildren, such as honesty, compassion, responsibility, and respect for nature, can have a lasting impact on their lives and the world around them. By teaching them to live according to these values, we are planting seeds of goodness and wisdom that can flourish in future generations. The legacy of actions and contributions. Our actions and contributions to the world are also part of our legacy. By working for a more just, equitable, and sustainable world, by supporting causes we care about, and by using our talents and skills for the common good, we are leaving a positive footprint on history in creating a better world for future generations. Creating a positive legacy is an ongoing process that requires commitment, reflection, and action. It involves making conscious choices about how we want to live our lives and what kind of impact we want to have on the world. In doing so, we are not only honoring our ancestors and caring for future generations, but we are also finding a deeper sense of purpose and meaning in our own lives. Epilogue. We have reached the end of this manual, but our journey towards understanding our ancestral heritage and our DNA is just beginning. Throughout these pages, we have explored how the experiences of our ancestors can resonate in our lives, how our DNA influences our health and behavior, and how we can use this knowledge to live a more mindful life and create a healthier future for ourselves and future generations. This manual is just a starting point, an invitation to continue exploring, learning, and healing. We encourage you to delve into the topics that have resonated with you the most, research your own family history, make conscious decisions about your health and well-being, and share your knowledge with others. Remember that you are part of a bigger story, a story that stretches across generations. By honoring your ancestors, taking care of your DNA, and creating a positive legacy, you are contributing to a brighter future for everyone. May this journey inspire you and guide you towards a fuller and more meaningful life. References. This manual, Understanding the Lineage of Our Ancestors and DNA, is the result of a synthesis of various sources of knowledge, both scientific and spiritual, that seek to understand the deep connection between our ancestral past, our genetic code, and our present life. Below are the main references that have inspired and guided the development of this manual. It Didn't Start With You: How Inherited Family Trauma Shapes Who We Are and How to End the Cycle by Mark Wolin explores how family traumas can be passed down through generations and offers tools to heal these wounds and break cycles of suffering. The Ancestral Mind: Psychological Roots of Human Experience by Stanley Krippner. This book delves into ancestral psychology and how the experiences of our ancestors can influence our minds and behavior. The Biology of Belief: Unleashing the Power of Consciousness, Matter and Miracles by Bruce H. Lipton. This groundbreaking book explores epigenetics and how our beliefs and perceptions can influence the expression of our genes and our health. The Healing Code of the Ancestors: The Ancestral Roots of Disease and the Power of Healing by Thorwald Dethlefsen and Rudiger Dahlke. This book combines medical and spiritual insights to explore how diseases can have roots in our family history and how we can heal through connection with our ancestors. Spiritual Partnership: The Journey to Authentic Power by Gary Zukav. This book invites us to explore our spirituality and connect with our inner wisdom to live a more authentic and meaningful life. This handbook is a tribute to ancestral wisdom and scientific advances that allow us to better understand our connection to the past, our present, and our future. It is an invitation to explore these various sources of knowledge and to find your own path to healing, personal growth, and the realization of the potential within you.